Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of I'm Getting Really Hungry. This vlog has been really about my return to bodybuilding again. But many of you know, a lot of people have followed me throughout the years, and I'm really grateful for it. But as many of you know, I'm making a full return to bodybuilding, and throughout the years, I've done some great things that really helped me have some great learning experiences with Pilates, most recently being probably my most recent education. I've learned the full method in. It's been really fun to learn my body and learn how to move. Powerlifting, it was fun just working all the way up to the top and working with some of the, honestly, top coaches in the world and top athletes in the world. It's been a crazy, wild journey, but throughout that whole journey, one thing that I did not miss, I would say probably in the past 10 years, 11 years before I was really, really bodybuilding, again, like I am now, was hunger. You got to be hungry if you want to bodybuild, dude. I mean, you got to be, it's unbelievable how hungry you have to be. I'm currently scratching the surface, if I'm being honest. Probably 5 or 6 pounds into a cut. I've been losing, I would say probably about half a pound a week. I've been going as slow as I possibly can, as slow as I feel comfortable. And I'm looking at all of the reasons of what makes fat loss so difficult for so many people. And I think there's two primary reasons that I've really come to that are the main top reasons. Now, there's a lot of legitimate reasons, metabolic reasons, and environmental reasons, and there's genetic reasons. There's endless variety of reasons, but I think there's really two huge reasons why fat loss is so extremely difficult. Reason number one, you got to be hungry, and not to be confused with Hungary, the country, but you got to be hungry, right? You have to have hunger pains from time to time. You also have to deal with low energy. And I think one of the difficult portions about this is that it's just an unpleasant sensation. Who wants to feel this feeling? I think no one would voluntarily sign up for this. In the modern world that we live in, there's no reason for a person to be hungry, to feel bouts of hunger. Most people go about their day and maybe have a few episodes of feeling hunger or hangriness, you can call it, but it really doesn't. How do I say it? Affect their day because very shortly they will get food. There is a systematic in weight loss, a systematic. I want to say systematic, planned out approach to appropriately having bouts of hunger and bouts of low energy. And that to me seems to be extremely non-desirable for people and really warrants them not wanting to be included in this method. The second reason, you kind of have to become a minority, right? If you're a part of the food culture, at least in the United States, you have friends, you go out for drinks, you go out to eat. Part of my social fabric is the fact that I eat and drink like people. When I want to lose body fat, I have to exclude myself from society. I have to now become a minority. I don't do what the majority does. And I think there are, as we all know, endless difficulties and troubles of feeling like you're not a part of society. And I think between feeling some strange mental position of feeling ostracized, deciding I want to lose some body fat so I can no longer partake normally. Obviously, I've been flexible dieting my whole life, and many people know about macros and flexible dieting, but it doesn't escape the feeling of not being included with eating and drinking as people do, and the feeling of having to be hungry and have bouts of hunger and bouts of low energy. This to me seems like a bad deal for most people. And if I'm being honest, I know most people have dreams and visions of the body fat they would like to be and they struggle with. And I think these two are the huge gatekeepers. Honestly, it's not a life that most people want to live. It's not a lifestyle that I think most people would comfortably like to deal with. And I make these videos because I always think there's a silver lining to the desirably difficult. When I say desirably difficulty, I reference this in a few of my videos. I mean a difficulty that is difficult, but is good for us, but is good for you. Now, I'm talking about hunger. I'm not talking about malnutrition. I'm not talking about starvation. I'm not talking about, living within a famine. These are real world issues and problems that we've obviously seen in the old world, and we still do see some today. They're real issues. What I'm addressing is for you to leave the life of complete comfort, life of always feeling satiated and full and satisfied, and entering a life where you willingly say, I'm going to deal from time to time between meals with hunger. Simply just being on the threshold of hunger and living and experiencing and sustaining that over 4 to 6 months sometimes in a weight loss phase. I think it's very difficult to lose fat because who wants to sign up for this life? As always, I encourage you though to hear me out here, to accept it and to hold on to it. Because if you were willing to say, all right, I'm going to deal with these few bouts of hunger, I'm going to deal with the irritableness, I'm going to deal with possibly, depending on how lean your body fat can be, losing libido, losing my drive and my interest and thoughts and passion for a lot of the common things and becoming very food centric, I think it becomes a negative thing for a lot of people. But I think these things have their necessary time and place, and a phase of these things I think can be beneficial. Okay, the body is unique in a way. And what I mean by this is that the human being is, of all the organisms, possibly the most adaptable organism. As Charles Darwin would say, the surviving species learns to adapt, right? You have to either adapt or you die. And within an adaptation, what I mean by that, at least in a physiological sense, is that when our body senses a change, it says there's an external stimuli that I'm not receiving or external amount of calories that I'm not receiving. There is an initial change of discomfort. And I think within that initial change of discomfort, what you sense and what you judge as a human is short-sighted terror. It's a bad deal. You never want to get through this. But if you can look through the initial punishing parts of the deal, right? The initial part of the deal where the hunger, so to speak, slaps you in the face and you let it slap you the other cheek, or it spits in your face, or it punches you in the face, where it humiliatingly leaves you feeling like not good, irritable, unpleasant. There's something to this. The adaptability of the human organism gives something to the other side of your holding tight, of your doing the right thing, of your doing good. I think where we see this a lot, we see this in religions, right? Religions have times where they fast, or in Christianity have Lent, right? A period where you sort of give up something for some period. And I think food is a primary means of getting sort of a spiritual cleansing, sort of a transformation of your mind. And I think fat loss phases, to me, parallel a lot of the benefits that people see when they try to go fast and do these things. So I'm preaching that you can get sort of a 2-for-1 deal here, right? Not only can you go through a phase, this is not a permanent, I'm not saying be hungry permanently. This is not a phase. But a phase. This is not a long-term thing that we live in forever and do forever. So there are a few skills that I notice that I get as I've been a few pounds into this weight loss phase, and I'm already feeling. Number one, focus. Being hungry increases focus like nothing I've ever seen before. Now, this is just me on a whim here. I believe that if you are hungry, you also physiologically not only get the physical symptoms of hunger, but you get a completely new psychological motivator. If I were still an old animal type living organism, prehistoric human before agriculture days, if I were hungry, I would be a hunter. I would sharpen my senses. I would pull something out of the burning fat loss kind of feeling that I'm getting, and I would use that to up my aggression. I would use that to up my focus to get exactly what I need. When you're hungry, I think a special thing happens in particular with hunger. Now, this isn't extreme hunger. This isn't eating disordered hunger. This is the right amount of hunger at the right amount of calories to lose an appropriate amount of body fat at appropriate pace. Your focus, I believe, goes through the roof, mainly because you're not satisfied. One of the biggest things about being in a surplus is that you're constantly satiated. It's like a baby on a bottle or a baby on its mother's nipple constantly being satisfied. The baby is happy, jolly, laughs, and goes to sleep. And that's all good and well if we're a baby. But human beings, we need to get things done. We need to hit the nail hard with the hammer. And I think bouts of hunger make you not fuck around. I think they make you not play around anymore. I think when you can feel some hunger, I think your lion's roar comes up a little bit, right? Some of that softness we get from always being fed. We kind of get hardened a little bit. Now, as I said, and I've been saying, this isn't a lifestyle. No one's asking you to be hungry all the time. But for whatever your bouts of hunger need to be for the goal for the time, I do think they're worth it. Mainly because on the other side of this pain, you can increase focus. Only because you don't have a choice. Only because you are so hungry you can't lay around and do nothing, right? Sometimes you'll be so hungry that you say, "Let me just work to keep myself busy," or "I don't feel like I'm in the mood. I feel a little irritable, so let me get this done." These are how do I say it? Good for us. These are difficulties that are desirable for us, right? The word desirable difficulty is a recurring one that I've been using a lot. And I think it adds tremendous value if we can hang on tight and get to the other side and see this sort of increased focus in this skill. Another skill that I've seen a lot is my tidiness. When I'm, for some reason, cleaned up, let's say, in my diet, more organized in the times I'm going to eat, more organized in the times that I'm going to diet, the thing that I consume, I don't know what it is. It's like this. It's like this habit. If my eating in my digestion, my gut is organized and consumed and tracked and tailored and consistent, I somehow seem to pass that on to keeping the kitchen cleaner, keeping my house cleaner, washing my car, keeping everything clean. It's almost like when you have that intense focus that can come from hunger, right? Because you don't feel great. So you really have to try harder to double down on focus. It makes you want to make sure that your environment is just as good so you can execute those meals perfectly, right on cue. So this tidiness factor, I think it's essential. What's that saying? The body is a temple, right? And if the body is a temple, and if what's being fed into the body, right, is organized and almost ritualistically holy and planned and scarce, I think it does wonders in the rest of your life. I think you'll eat, not feel totally full, and you'll say, "Well, I still have energy to roll. I still have energy to do something. I still want to get stuff done. Let me not only organize my meals for the day, but now let me organize my schedule a little tighter for the day," right? I noticed that by the minute, right, between this tidiness and focus, my schedule is a little tighter and a little more concise, and it does for me some of my most productive work when I'm hungry and I have less energy. The less energy portion of it, I think, is important because it gives sort of the macro picture to, I think, what a lot of us are looking for in our life, a good life. When I am in a surplus, just eating whatever I want, not really on top of my nutrition, I notice that I have a lot of nonsense in my life. People who probably shouldn't be, spending a lot of time with. They're not adding a ton of value into my life, or watching TV and content and movies and a lot of junk, right? I think when you take out a lot of that junk in your diet and you don't have room for a lot of junk energy to be expended because the energy is low, I think what happens is that you create this life audit, right? The scarcity that you're feeling, and not only in your energy, in your mood, and how much good mood and temperament that you have for the day, you just become less about the BS. I think the hunger, in some weird, strange way, creates this new skill, right? You kind of go through this mental, spiritual transformation, and you say, what is important in my life? If I don't have much energy, if I don't have much calories, if I can't go eat and drink with everyone, be up, what is my life? I think it forces you to be physically uncomfortable, to be in a state of non-homeostasis in your body, and to go and try to figure out what is worth your time and what is not. My younger brother is an Olympian, and he's, It's not an easy thing to be an Olympian, to win a Commonwealth gold medal. My brother's one of the finest athletes I've ever known, and the term he uses for this is life audit. And I understand him, right? When you're in that peak of that season, when you have to go to the Summer Olympics this summer, imagine what it takes, right? Who can you have in your life? What can you have in your life? And as I said, these periods are temporary, right? And so I think they are huge sweeps in our life where they can come in for 2 months or 8 weeks or 10 weeks, 20 weeks, however long you're having this period of dealing and embracing hunger, and to really clean your life up, right? To really clean up people who don't need to be in your life or things that don't need to be in your life, and you can see exactly what you want the most with the most clarity in these periods. It's a complete renewal of your life. It's a complete renewal of your physical self, of your mental self. I think these periods of fasting, they leave all feelings of how do I say it, of greed and wanting, in things that are not necessary for your life in terms of extra abundance, and they limit it to actually what you need. It gets it down back to the fundamentals, back down to the sort of ABCs of what you want in your life. So as I continue on this cut, it's easy now, but it's going to get more difficult, and I know it is. And I will say this to anyone: the unpleasant sensations are part of it. The whole time I've been making this video, I've been pretty hungry, but I have a meal coming up pretty soon. The pain is temporary. It's not a permanent thing. It's something that just comes and it goes and it comes and it goes and it comes and it goes. And if you're at the proper calories, if you're at the proper type of diet, whether that be intermittent fasting for you, multiple meals a day, keto, whatever works for you, if you have all your pieces in order, dealing with them like a man or like a woman, taking them up front and saying, I got this, in how to say it, taking up your burden, being proud of the pain, of the desirable difficulty that's been given to you to achieve this goal, is a good thing. Now, it's easy to have these feelings and lash out on those close to you, or have less patience for your children, or have less, how do I say it, kindness to the world and people at work, and you just sort of drop the whole role of being a kind person. I would argue with you that this is the most important time to not show people that you're weak. It's more important than anything to make sure that when you're going through these difficulties, when you're choosing to be hungry or when you're choosing to diet, that you wash your face, you stand upright, you keep your chin up, you don't let the world know that you're hurting. This is not the whole point, to ask and beg for a pity party. Do your best to deal with these desirable difficulties and get the good fruits of them, and keep them for yourself. These skills of being able to audit your life, feel more focused and be more tidy and be more clean, and just that good tight cleaning of your life, keep it for you. Don't go spoiling them by becoming an undesirable person because you're in a bad mood or you're not feeling it today. So, okay, that's all I got for this video. It was just a thought that I've been having as I've been hungry, and I'm just sort of reintroducing myself back to the world of hunger. So, all right, I would love to hear how everyone who's ever dieted or has ever dealt with a diet, how do you manage these? What do you look forward to? What are things you don't look forward to? How do you weigh them? How do you deal with your life and family and consequences and all those things? So thank you to everyone so far. I'm very glad to be back here. It feels good to hear from everyone. If you're on a diet, keep going. It's well worth it. So, all right. Thank you all.